everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Unrealistic Box, where we have realistic discussions about unrealistic dreams. I am your host, Kimberly Allen, and today we have a very, very special guest with us today. Innovator, visionary, and entrepreneur, Miss Courtney Bradshaw. Welcome, Courtney.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, so Courtney, I am just so elated that you decided to participate in our podcast. I know it's going to be a really interesting and fun discussion with you because you're so full of life and positive energy. And so thank you for coming once again. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself to our audience and tell us something about you that you know.
My name is Courtney Bradshaw. I am basically growing in Christ. God has been blessing me to be such a entrepreneur. I started a business when I was 18. I do want to say credit to my dad because he would be going to his job and selling the jewelry for me. So he was the one who basically made all the money. And I just started my actual business career at Oakwood University. I was trying to become a pharmacist. I was like, I did good in science and, high school. When I got there, it wasn't working for me. And God bless, because he was like, go into business. And ever since I changed that, it has been phenomenal. I've been growing so much at my current job, at my past jobs. And God he just works in my life. One thing that I guess people don't know about me is I'm very introverted, even though people think I'm very open. I'm an introvert. I like being by myself or with one other person at a time.
Yeah.
I don't like big crowds.
Tell us how you started your business. What was the story behind that? What was your mindset? What did you hope to accomplish when you started your business? And if you don't mind sharing, if it's still, around now, what is the name of that company?
Okay, so I first started my first business called Accessory. It's a fashion jewelry business. I only did it for a year because it was right before college and I didn't want to really keep it up because that would be a lot of things. But basically, the mindset it wasn't really my mindset. It was my mom. She was like, why don't you start this? And I'm just like, okay. And then we started looking up, wholesale fashion jewelry places that we can get, cheap, bulk jewelry. And we just started there and, the name formulated. I'm not even sure why. My mom wanted to name it something else. I was like, no. And started going with Accessory because, hey, it basically makes more sense. It's Xessori. So it was like a play on words. But it's, something I did for a year. And that's when I didn't really even know I wanted to go into business.
Wow. So talk to us about what you're doing now. What is your current job title? And what is the story behind that? That is interesting. So I want to talk about it.
All right. So I want to say, I always want to say God blesses because he does. And what happened was basically I was at a law firm. I was a legal assistant. God bless with that job too, because I had no idea about it. I had no, experience in law except for one class, business law class. And what happened was I got laid off during COVID. And literally 2 days later, this company, I know them quite well, but, it wasn't based on me knowing them quite well. It was like, oh, hey, we have independent contractors. Do you want to join us? And I'm like, look at how God works. 2 days, after I got laid off, two, not just a month or anything. Yeah. It was 2 days. And they were like, hey, you can come work for us. And it wasn't something I told them about. I didn't say, oh, I got laid. It was God basically hey, let's ask Courtney. And I started off as an independent contractor. God had me doing all these things, like, even stuff that I wasn't even in my job description. And I can't say like it was me, like God had blessed me to already like doing marketing and things. So I was just like, oh, I'm just going to keep doing this.
Yeah.
And I guess they saw, she really cares about us and our business. So let's hire her full time.
Nice.
And it was crazy because when they hired me full time, I made more money. I was hired making more money than I did at my job I got laid off at. Like, that's a blessing. And it was just like, and I, way more money. And it was just like how God just works things out, and just makes a foundation for you even before, like, I didn't even know what to do at that job. And then God showed me what to do.
Right.
And I didn't even know how to do it. The title was, the first title they gave me was a global procurement manager, which basically is I contact suppliers for clients. Purchasing for them. And now recently, I became this is my current position, is the global operations and business development manager. Yep. So I help with the, right? No, God bless. So I now work with just the back end, like, procurement. It's like, you have to actually contact the supplier. So you're like the front end of the business. Now I kind of work with the consultants and help them out, showing them what to do, training. God blessed me with an opportunity also to start doing interviews. I've never done that in my life. So, yeah. So it was like, everything is building up. I got to have really big meetings with big people, big companies. I was just like, it was just like a crazy experience because it's like, I could talk about one, like, that I know I can speak of. Other things, is kind of confidential. But I remember when we had this project, and one of the suppliers that we were trying to get in contact with is Shell, the gas company. And I was able to be in that meeting, and I was just like, wow, like, look at how God blesses, like, took little old me. And now I'm here.
That is so good. That is really cool. And I must say congratulations on all your accomplishments. And I know that in the future you're going to go and you're going to do great things. That this is just a stepping stone to what is to come. So I'm really excited for you, Courtney, really, and I'm really inspired about your story because, you could have gone there and you could have been all shy and you wouldn't have gotten these opportunities. Thank you for sharing your story with us, and I hope that, our listeners are inspired because sometimes we step into the unknown, and because we don't know one of the things, it hinders us from achieving dreams because we are shy and we don't want to seem like we don't really know what we're doing. But sometimes work is a learning space. You go there for experience, and I'm glad that you've taken full advantage of that. Let us talk about your purpose. Do you know what your purpose is?
I want to say that I really don't know my purpose, but I know some things that God has told me that I can do. One thing, just want to say this. My grandpa, my poppy, he passed maybe 6 years ago, and he was like my best friend, and I would be with him all the time. And when I tell you this man could cook, he's a Bahamian. He would, grits, all of that for me and my little brother. When our parents would go to work, we would always be like, that's where we used to be, at his house. And he was such a great cook. Like, I literally started wanting to learn how to cook. And it was like, I'm like, okay, how does he make this so great? And I started, and I could say that is one of the blessings that I know God has given me. Because, like, I went from eggs, I knew how to make all type of eggs. And, like, I became vegan, 7 years ago. And, like, I can make, like, God bless me to learn how to make gourmet vegan food. And it's like, that's what I don't want to say that's my purpose, but I know that is a part of what God has blessed me to know. Yeah. So one day I would like to be a food mogul, like all different type of food restaurants everywhere. Yeah. So I think that's one of the things God has blessed me to want to go into.
Yeah, I've seen your Instagram. You do the food? Your Instagram, the food on your Instagram is lit. And I thought,
Thank
I'm
you.
not a vegan, but they look good. I would eat it. I don't really eat a lot of things like that, but they do. They look really good. That's
Thank you.
awesome. I know you do some sort of graphic design. Is it
Yeah.
that um you have professional skills in graphic design, or is it something that you're learning?
I want to say it's something I'm learning. I do want to say it's more of marketing. Like,
Okay.
one thing I do want to say is that I became SDA maybe 4 years ago during the time, like around almost graduating college. And I know that you're SDA as well. One thing is I didn't have like a job, secure job after college. And, I was getting pressured by my family. Like, they're like, you could get a job, on Sabbath. And I'm just like, no. And they're like, well, we see other other SDAs doing that. I'm like, well, they're not really practicing real Sabbath. And it was like, pressure and this and that. And it's like, if you obey God, like, he'll bless you. So after I obeyed,
That's true.
the first job he gave me was a job at my church. And I was like, I already had like, they gave me a big title. Like, I'm like, what? A director of marketing. And I'm like, I don't even know how to do marketing. I got a C in college in marketing. Like, what am I doing? I'm like, but it's a job. It's good. It's right there near my house,
Yeah.
And I could do it remote. It wasn't like, I had to really, there are sometimes I had to go in, just not even like, just for like a meeting or something like that. And it was like, from that moment, God showed me, like, God literally gave me the skill of marketing. So now I'm able to do that at my new job, and I'm able to help, different businesses now, like, even just helping them. Like, there are some things that, they needed to rebrand, and it's like, God showed me it. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it's like, I've been learning, I've been helping them, create different proposals, like more creative proposals, more creative presentations. And it's like, from that moment of obeying God and him giving me a job I didn't even really want, it gave me the gift of marketing. And I've only been growing in it, like, from not even long ago to now. It's like, I could see a whole big difference in like everything. I'm able to like now see things differently, have different colors, like I'm able to now see
detail, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So during that process of being unemployed and being pressured by family to, work on the Sabbath, what kept you grounded? What caused you not to succumb to the pressure of working on the Sabbath?
I think I just knew that. I know that it was like the first start of my journey when I became SDA and I really got a real experience with God. And it's just like, that he's helping you do everything. Like, there were times, I remember there was a time where, like, in my school, I had a D in my class. I mean, of course, that's because of me. But God helped me to study, and I got 100 on that test, and it brought my grade up until B. Like, like things like that. Like, it's like, like, when you do your part, God will do his. And it was like,
That is so true.
you have to keep focusing on him. And I know I don't always, like, we all have issues. We have times where we don't, we disobey and things like that. But like, in those moments, I knew that he had me.
That is good. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. Sometimes the uncertainty can cause us to do a lot of things that does not align with the plans that God has for our lives. And so we hold back his hands, or we put an obstacle in the way because God has to start over, when breakthrough was just right where to just have to be patient. I've seen your designs. You've designed things for me, and they're really nice. Not asking you to do it, but you just come up and you say, Kimberly, I did something for you. And it's really good. So I think, you should hone in on that skill, utilize it more, because I think you have a real gift there. Let us talk about being holding yourself accountable. Do you hold yourself accountable? Do you do self-evaluation when you're in a particular situation? How do you hold yourself accountable if you feel like you have done not your best, but you have performed at a mediocre level?
I want to say that in this current moment, that's exactly what what I'm dealing with right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say that I'm like this person that has it all together, because I don't. But I think that God has blessed me with the people in my work environment. One of them is my best friend, and honestly, I've known her family since I was 4. And we have these daily, like every day we read a book. One that we're reading is Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life. And that was honestly when they asked me to join their, book reading. I was dealing with a lot of, discouragement and mental challenges. And it was like the first book they gave me, I can't remember what it is at that moment, but it had to do with changing your mindset and becoming better and, taking out that mental garbage. And it's like, how like you just see like God these people didn't know anything. Even though she's my best friend, I don't tell her everything. So it's like, God knew I needed that. And ever since, we are now on like with the 3rd or 4th book. And this one is literally about changing your own behaviors that are unhealthy and also trying to create new ones. And it's just really been helpful for me to now make myself more accountable for things.
You talk about mental health. What tips can you give to someone who might be struggling with something similar?
I would say that we're human. That seems so simple, but sometimes I'm very hard on myself. But you don't get anywhere, you don't grow, and you don't add to yourself if you're the hardest person on yourself.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. So this is God speaking through me right now, because I don't even. But no, really, like I know for myself, I'm very hard on myself. But it's like you have to remember, you're still, at least if you're trying, you're doing something. If you're not trying, then okay, you need to sit there and be more accountable. But when it comes to mental health, just make sure like your worth. Know that God loves you.
Yeah.
Know that you are the only one of you. So it's like you only can do what you can do. And there are times where you're going to slip, where you're going to fall, but God gets you back up. And it's not even that hard. I'm not going to say it's not that difficult, because there's a lot of times where it's like, I've been down, and it's like, I've been down for a little while, and it's like, okay, I'm not feeling like myself right now. But it's like, when you look back at it, God still kept you moving. So if you're still moving, you're still growing, you're still going somewhere.
Yeah, I share the same sentiment, because I feel like this week I've experienced something similar. I think this week, mentally, I was at my lowest. This week, I felt like I was at a breaking point. And so, I had to encourage myself. And when I made it through the week, I had to thank God that, we take it for granted sometimes that we have to get through. So we make plans. But sometimes a lot of people are going through things they don't even plan for the next minute, because you never know what might happen. So I do think, forgiving ourselves, encouraging ourselves goes a really long way. That is really important, especially during the pandemic, where you don't really get to see, even though the world is opening up back later than, so you don't get to see your family, you don't get to see your friends, your support system, the people that you have around you in your circle. It's very important for you to choose the right people. So how is that process for you? How do you choose your support system?
I want to say that there's a lot of people I don't really know. Okay, I'm not very fond of people. So I can say that I might have, maybe you all, like people in my Bible study have been my most recent friends. I'm not a trusting person. And even then, like, having you as friends, I'm not going to tell you. I'm just a private person. So I think I have to fill people out first to see if I even want to be associated. And I know when sometimes I have felt people out and I see something I don't like, I'm like, okay, like that's that person's off my list.
Yeah. And it's for the better, trust me. That God gives us intuition, like, okay, leave that person. The spirit of discernment is strong, because sometimes along the line, that person will stab you in your back or will cause you to lose out on, some sort of it.
I agree with you, because it's just, you don't know what people are capable of, but it's like sometimes they already show you from the beginning. So it's kind of like, and I'm not saying that there haven't been people like, I'm like, oh, sometimes I do still keep people that I might see something. Maybe that comes from love, but it's just, you really have to be careful who you keep around you, because they definitely can make or break your own type of relationship. And even though that, if you give people your power, you kind of end up losing, because it's like, you have to protect yourself regardless of how much you love people.
Yeah, and you have to be careful how much you divulge. Yeah, so a lot of people are not supposed to be privy to everything. Let people wonder sometimes, have a little mystery. It is, because it does help. If I tell everybody everything about me, like, I don't know what you're going to use it to. Like, you don't know the intentions of people sometimes. Like, a lot of people wear masks, and we think that, we trust them, so we guard them, so we tell them everything. And then that money works out well for us.
I know. Then you get burned, and it's like, well, you kind of saw some things, so you could have protected yourself. Yeah. And sometimes you need to have some boundaries. That's one thing. You need to have boundaries. Because if, say you see somebody talking about their friend, it's like, you really gonna tell them your business? No, you're gonna walk the other way. Like, even if that's not you, you still know where they are in their
right. Yeah. For real. So you mentioned boundaries. Let us talk about boundaries. How do you set boundaries in your personal life, in your professional life? What do you do?
I think my pastor says it best, Pastor Alex Reyes. Basically, you have to know who your friends, your confidants are, who your acquaintances are. He had a sermon about that. I think God has blessed me to always be a person that was private anyways. But I've just always been a person that has been very private, because I have been burned. And it helps though. Like, God, what the devil meant for harm, God meant for good, because it helps me now to conserve myself in a way that I'm not hurting then. Like, even if there's times where I might be, but I know, like, okay, Courtney knows she didn't even give that much of herself. Boundaries, it depends on who it is, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
But I know at my work life, I know since my best friend is a part of my work life, I think you just have to keep it professional. With family, I think my family just knows I'm a private person, but there are some people in my family that do try to overstep their boundaries.
How do you address it?
I just ignore it, if we're being honest. Like, if somebody says something crazy, I'm quick to say something back to them, so where they know I'm not the one to play with. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful manner, but you're not going to get anything from me. Like, I don't care how much you ask or try. It's just not, and you can make up little fantasies in your head. That's just going to be.
So let me ask you, what is one thing that you like people to remember when the name Courtney Bradshaw is mentioned?
This is easy. I want people to remember the love that I gave them. Even though I'm private, those who know me know I love really hard. And I just want them to remember how I made them feel, or just knowing that I was a genuine, good-hearted person.
And I enjoy talking to you, because I can be myself, I can be transparent, I can be vulnerable. You bring that out. in me. And I think we're similar in personality. So it's very good, to meet someone like me who is not afraid to be open and vulnerable. But, we do set our boundaries and we know what to divulge and what to keep to ourselves. Because sometimes, privacy is best and it helps with our mental health and our mental state. And so I appreciate you for coming and sharing that about yourself. We are going to have our story time. This is our segment where we showcase or highlight a company, and then we're going to ask you to tell us who you think that company is. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you the name. I'm just going to give you a quick background of the company.
I'm not going to look at my phone either. I'm going to...
Okay, so let's go.
This is the largest private apartment rental platform in North America, competing with Trulia, Zillow, StreetEasy, and many other companies. Their mission is to make renting an apartment as easy as booking a hotel. With $143 million in backing from Andreessen Horowitz, Kleiner Perkins, and Grayscott, they have the firepower to make right on their promise. It was started in 2012 by Anthimos Georgiadis, an ex-BCG consultant studying at Harvard Business School at the time. Having to move around 7 times during his undergrad and the following 3.5 years at BCG, he was frustrated with how arcane the renting process was. So when he finally got to grad school and encountered the same problem yet again, that was it. He had to do something about it. Marketplaces are hard and they are inherently hard to get started. Early on, Anthimos had a critical decision to make. Should he tackle supply or demand from the get-go? For him, he chose supply. The first 2 years of business were dedicated solely to getting supply-side liquidity and having the biggest catalog for rental apartments in their 2 key markets, SF and NYC. A series of funding was entirely raised on that premise, that they at that time had enough supply to go out and build all the vertical integration tools that would make renting an apartment an Airbnb-like experience. Equipped with and into the industry, Anthimos and Taylor went on their mission to sign up as much listings as possible. Their go-to model was one similar to that of Airbnb. To supercharge their growth and acquire about 80% of all listings in NYC and SF on their platform in 2 years, they offered their Pro tool entirely for free. This was the single biggest acquisition driver for them early on. With Taylor's connection to the industry, it was an almost no-brainer for the realtors and brokers alike to adapt to more leads, less work, and zero cost. By focusing on just getting listings on their website, the marketplace naturally started to grow to about 30,000 visitors a month.
Do you know what company that is?
Okay, I'll give you like 3 options.
Okay, alright. I don't even know like the housing companies that much, but okay.
Oh no, me either. But I'll give you 3. Or I'll give you 1 or what?
Alright, give me 3.
Well, first, can I ask you a question? What's the location of the...
It just says that it's the largest private apartment rental platform in North America.
Is it apartments.com?
No.
That's all I had, really, if we're being honest. What is it?
It's Zumper.
What is that? Zumper? Well, we learn something new every day, because I've never
heard of them before. But if you didn't know, they are coming with something. Alright. Oh my, that wasn't too bad. I don't know them either. So that's one thing we wanted to do, is to highlight, companies that people don't really know of, or the background stories of these big organizations, to kind of get where they're coming from, their journey to success, so that we can take, little tips from them and try to integrate it in our businesses as well and to grow.
Yeah, that's great. Good to, highlight that.
All right, so identify one situation in your life where you felt most confident, in which you felt like the very best person you could possibly be.
When I was getting to know God, I like literally, I mean, people know me now as like this sweetheart kind of person, but like, back in the day, I wasn't the nicest, and I would talk back a lot. I would cuss. There's just a lot. But when I got to really, I knew God, I grew up in the church, but like at the same time, I wasn't, so into it. It was kind of just like, oh, my parents made me go. So, but I think when I got to know God, like, I started being more obedient. People can say that that's very weak. Is really not, because like if you're able to control your mind, your body, your soul, you're able to control so much. When I used to flip when somebody talked crazy, it's like you kind of give them your power. I didn't realize that.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
So how do you react to feedback? Negative feedback, do you accept it and try to build on it, or do you just ignore it and just say that's not what it is? I know what is best for me and I know better.
I think when it comes to feedback, it does depend on the person and how they say it. Because there's sometimes people might do it out of spite to make you feel lower, which I've gone through. But there's other people that I know that are with your best interest. So I think I take it, it might be like, I know I can be sensitive. So sometimes but then after I'm like, okay, you have to see it for what it is. It's not about you. You can't take everything personally.
Yeah.
But I think it is how you say it to me that, can determine whether I accept it or not.
So how do you apply the information that you receive via the criticism or feedback that you get? How do you apply that to your life?
I could say, again, it does go back to I don't want to say all the times how people say it, but I feel like sometimes I'm very stubborn. But it's there's some times where okay, Courtney, you need to work with what you're being told. I'm not saying I don't take criticism well, but I think there are times where I have to really take myself out of myself in order for me to actually understand, the situation. A lot of it comes from God, because I might be man, I don't even believe what they, but then at the same time, it's I know that happened recently, and then God's Courtney, just do what they ask, just do it. And it was you have to be, it's you have to know that you're not always right, and you have to know that you're human, so you're not always going to do everything right, and you're going to have to, if you can't take criticism, you're not going to grow. And even though there might be times I'm what they talking about? But then God shows me, Courtney, they right in some way. And I'm just okay. So I guess I have to take it, I have to just take the hit sometimes and really try to work on what I have to do.
All right. Well, I'm glad you said that. So we're going to break. And we're going to have a little bit more fun. We're having a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the conversation. This is our wording segment. Okay. So in this segment, we have 3 activities for you. We have a spelling, a pronunciation, and a reading. Okay? So we'll do the reading first. So here is your question. What tastes better than it smells?
What tastes better than it smells?
Yeah.
It has to be a food, so. What
Well,
if
you can build on that. You can build on it.
what tastes better than it smells? What food smells though? Is it Duran? Or
No.
Dara? Oh, okay. My vegan people, durian, something like that. What tastes better than it smells? Like I'm gonna. Is this like an easy thing? Because like
It is
you're looking.
super easy. Very.
Oh gosh.
Don't overthink it. You know it.
What
Just
tastes better than it smells? Yeah, you're gonna give me that question.
okay. So the answer is your tongue.
All right.
So.
That would have never gotten.
Oh, good. All right. So pronounce this word. That's the word.
Foudroyant.
Go again.
Foudroyant.
No, I never heard you the first time. I never heard. Yeah.
Foudroyant.
Oh, yeah. Foudroyant. Yeah. Yay! Okay, so I'm going to give you a sentence, and you are going to tell me what you think foudroyant means. The sentence says, "She was a beautiful bride. In fact, the entire wedding was foudroyant."
Oh, can you repeat it, please?
She was a beautiful bride. In fact, the entire wedding was foudroyant.
Then it means beautiful, right? I'm just. Oh gosh. She was a beautiful bride, and
in fact, the entire wedding was foudroyant.
See, y'all, I got number 2 correct, so if I get number 3 wrong, don't think I don't have any education.
But you could build on lovely, but it's not lovely, but you can build on it, like words that people use to describe weddings.
Words that people describe weddings?
Mm-hmm. So like words that people use. Foudroyant is a descriptive word, and it can be used to describe weddings or any special occasion.
It was grand. Was
Foudroyant.
Let me just give you the answer.
Foudroyant is striking as with lightning or sudden overwhelming effect, such as stunning or dazzling. So her wedding was dazzling or stunning.
That's kind of lovely.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I learned a new word. So
Here
I'll
we
use
go.
that.
Foudroyant. I'm going to use that. Try. Casually. So the word to spell is Zenarthra. Zenarthra.
Zenarthra?
Yeah.
Zenarthra. Like, what does that mean? I'm just asking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that another question?
If I tell you the meaning, then you're going to have to give me a sentence with Zenarthra.
Yeah, let me just write it. Zenarthra.
Go again.
Zenarthra.
Almost. It was off by one letter. It's actually Xenarthra. Zenarthra.
Well,
Yeah.
I still got it in a way,
Okay. Oh.
I kind of do want to try how to say it in a sentence, low key.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you the definition and give you a sentence.
Alright.
Zenarthra is an order of mammals that comprises the edentate. An edentate is a mammal of order distinguished by the lack of incisors or canine teeth.
Well, canine teeth.
Yeah. So you can use it.
A lack of order. Okay, so Who has no teeth? Hold on.
No
Okay.
teeth, but incisors or canines.
Why did I ask you to do that? So isn't that like a hippo? That might be like a hippo. So, hippos have strong teeth even though their teeth are Xenarthra.
All right.
For being honest, I watched those old, kid things that I'm remembering, so I don't even know if their teeth are really like that.
No, I don't know either, but they are mammals, so that's something. So there we go. Oh my god, so fun. All right, so Courtney, in keeping with the theme of the unrealistic box, what unrealistic dreams do you have?
Unrealistic dreams, I would think for anybody would be actually to be a successful business owner, not just in one business but multiple.
Yeah.
But it can be done. Not sure how I'm going to do it, but God bless. God bless it. So I could say that is very unrealistic, especially, I think I want to have them like all running at the same time, low-key.
Yeah.
But that's unrealistic, I guess, because even just keeping one company afloat is kind of difficult.
Yeah. So what skills or characteristic traits do you think you need to acquire in order to achieve that goal?
More patience, more confidence, and just not letting, not stopping, like not being somebody who's a procrastinator. Yeah. Just keep going even if things are difficult.
That's good. That is good. What is something that you wish or hope or listeners take away from your interview this afternoon?
God brought me a long way. I mean, I don't even believe I'm being interviewed right now. So I thank you for that, because it just makes me feel like, it's like you're like, but it's just, you never know where God has you when you're at like a point where you don't even know if you're going to be really, much. And then he just keeps building and building. And it's like, I'm not even at my prime. And it's like already been just, I don't even care if it was ABC, like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I'm getting interviewed, like, ah. So it's just nice to know like that, I've come a long way and I'm not even where I, will end up.
That is great. And again, I must say, I am so proud of you and all that you have accomplished thus far. And just know that there is greatness within you. And you can accomplish anything that you put your mind to. You are a beautiful person. Inside and out, you have a lot to share, and your testimony and your story does not end on this podcast. But you are going to be an inspiration to a lot of young women who may feel like they're in this new, or they're stepping out on this new journey in life and they're not sure what to do. But you have, been an example, a prime example of how to just go forward and apply yourself. And for that, we must say thank you for sharing. And on behalf of everyone here at Tallow Productions, and especially the Unrealistic Box, we just want to thank you again for coming and spreading love and light on this podcast. This has been a real inspiration, an eye-opener. So a lot of things that you have told me today, I will be applying it to my life. And I just want to thank you again. So if there's anything that you'd like to say to a friend or a family member, a thank you, a shout out to them.
Thank you. So I just want to say first, thank you, Kimberly, for having me. I have just been blessed by you, just, with our own Bible study that we have. So it's just been amazing to see you also grow. And I know you're going to do great things. You have a charity, you have all these things, and you just put it in your mindset. You're just like, I'm just going to do a charity. I'm like, wow, I want to be like that. So, it's just great. And I also want to just shout out my family, my parents, shout out my aunt. She has been literally the bread and butter to my life. She has constantly encouraged me, been there through all the thick and thin. So Just want to say love them. So that's all I have.
Thank you so much. Again, thank you for coming. Thank you for spending this time with us. I hope that our listeners learn something and that they apply it to their lives in the coming week or in the future, but sometime throughout their life. I hope that they take something that Courtney has shared and that they'll share it with others. So this is the end of the Unrealistic Box, another beautiful episode with another beautiful guest. I would just want to thank Courtney for coming through again and for spending time with us. Follow us on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Follower Productions, and we will see you next week for another episode of the Unrealistic Box, where we live our own dreams.